Welcome to the River Garden building, where we are decolonizing the municipality of Brattleboro and reclaiming the indigenous name Montescac. We are reviewing a summary of the Municipal Data Currency Matrix proposal, co-written by myself, Rikki, and the 2017 Vermont Park Ranger of the Year, Kyle Rowe. There are 8 sections as a guideline on taxation, wages, basic income, youth and elder escrow, universal health care insurance, and sustainability, survivor reparations, and food security. Since the creation of the United States Federal Reserve in the early 20th century, the money supply of the United States has been printed and managed by a quasi-nominally independent central bank, sustainably operated to prevent political interference with economic processes. While the necessity of such an institution in the first place has been debated, what cannot be denied is the ever-increasing national debt, more than $22 trillion as of December 2019, financed exclusively by the U.S. Federal Reserve. National capacity to pay debts, which measures over 100% compared to gross domestic product, has caused mass intergenerational poverty. The creation of localized currencies based on exchanged value of labor services is gaining significant international support. Already, various time-based currencies exist, offering alternative mediums of exchange to communities seeking to invest with fair trade business. The Municipality Data Currency Matrix, or MDCM, is a proposal resolving diverse social issues based on correcting the inequity of a banking system designed by the largest banks for the largest banks. Modern technology has now advanced opportunities to decentralize from fascist federalism to empower people with the means to enable control over their own financial autonomy. The rise in popularity and success of automated cryptocurrencies, such as Bitcoin and Facebook's Libra, provide model forms of unique strings, hashes, alphanumeric sequences mined from a data block to open ledger book or blockchain order to protect users' data and identity information. The Municipal Data Currency Matrix can utilize both printed and digital account assets. The Municipal Data Currency Matrix ceases continuation of further taxation by supporting workers' unions, advocating employment liberties and rights of universal basic income security for individuals and families. Consensually negotiated public works budgets can be approved and funded by direct democratic majority. While the U.S. Federal Reserve Central Bank prints dollars and promissory notes into U.S. Treasury bills issued by the department, eventually repaid by tax dollars, control over the usage of those resources is mandated by a minority of politicians nominated by residents. There is no gold or precious material underpinning the dollar. The full faith and credit written upon those Federal Reserve notes we use as our currency is based on exactly that, movements of complicit faith. The Federal Reserve has had a monopoly over our collective lives for more than 100 years. Municipalities are entitled to fundamental life freedoms and to lead in generating, organizing, and operating with ballot motion currencies. The Municipal Data Currency Matrix is a modern resolution of capitalism into egalitarian commerce. All public works projects could be finalized by public vote paid for with municipality currency contracts. Significant changes to cost layout expenditures would be passed through public vote to approve or decline alterations. A 5% discount on all municipality purchase and a 6% discount on local produce would stimulate the economy and prevent hoarding habits that people have with money in in a scarcity mentality. This motion's to have minimum wage start at $25 an hour, which is still conservative to Switzerland's $27 equivalent rate. This also offers voters the option to choose between either a $36,000 to $80,000 basic income based on them if they believe that they want security to start at a high poverty rate, or to be able to be independent of government financial aid. Youth and Elder Escrow outlines a matching bank account so that as people age, they have security to retire with and learn how to invest with. Over the years, there would be $360 deposited each year into an account that they could reach upon age of emancipation. This is a way for us to invest into sustainable technologies and careers, and to fund survivor reparations and food security. And the 8 pages that this is outlined on is available on medium.com. Search Public Liberation Unions. Thank you. There are 8 different sections to the municipal data currency matrix. The first being no taxation. All public works projects would be finalized by public vote, paid for with the municipality currency. Significant changes to cost layout expenditures would be passed through a public vote to approve or decline alterations, and a 5% discount on all municipal purchases and 6% discount on local produce. This would help stimulate the economy and prevent the hoarding and scarcity mentality people have with spending. Wages would start at being $25 an hour minimum wage. Section 3, going into basic income, offers a suggested scale of starting at either $36,000 to $80,000 a year that people would be voting on what they prefer people starting at. 36 is the upper end of still being on the poverty guideline, and the $80,000 a year is the average of what being independent of needing government aid would be. So I would personally vote for the $80,000 per year. Section 4 goes into youth and elder escrow, and this explains a matching funds account so that as a person is born, that every year they would be getting a $360 deposit into an account, and when they reach the age of either emancipation or they have a financial guardian then who would be designating how that money is being spent, but the youth and elder escrow would provide more resources for them to, in their youth, start learning how to make investments and participate in businesses and create more of an economy, and eventually they'll use those funds to retire on. Section 5 goes into what universal health care insurance looks like, so that there would be coverage for all the treatments that are currently being denied by Medicare and Medicaid. Section 6 goes into the sustainability mission and ways to start investing into 24-hour available public transit and more goals of how to be sustainable. And Section 5 goes into survivor reparations. The last section goes into food security, which is recommended as being opted as needed to receive at least $30 a day, which people can choose between if they would rather get a monthly, annual, or biannual stipend instead of monthly, so that they can make both food purchases more affordably. Right now, all revenue is contracted through the US dollar, and so once we start paying people in an alternative currency, then we are just creating a currency is really just a way to track and compensate people for their time, and we can, by tracking it, we're creating a stock market to see how people actually value the resources and time around them. So like him denying people a $15 wage is just inhumane, and is further incentive for us to empower ourselves with an actual livable income, because that $15 was only even generated based on what a family would need if it's two people living together and putting their income together. So that doesn't take into consideration single people at all. And the 25 is still, in comparison to the Switzerland, their minimum wage is $27 per. So like $25 is pretty conservative for us to just as a starting wage. Does that make sense? Does that answer the question?
Yes, and also you say the currency will be named Libra.
It doesn't have to be Bitcoin or Libra. Those are just existing examples of other models, and there are just so many developing exchanges. Like Mika White, who is a co-founder of the Occupy movement, he wrote 2 different currencies that anyone can author them, but we just need to decide as a municipality what one represents us the most.
That currency will be also accepted in other towns or the whole state? How that will work?
That would be beautiful. I would love other people to share that vision as well, but we really only have authority to enable us ourselves, and so that's up to them to choose to participate with or not. And so eventually I really hope that this does create, if other people pass it, then we can have an exchange of equal dollars to each other to boycott the US dollar. You talked about reparations. I'm not aware of the government and on any level taking into consider reparations. Like there is the Federal Reparations Committee, but they haven't approved any actual reparations, and they're all white people last time I checked. And so like how I would envision us starting to pay reparations would be through our own reparations committee that would be of elected representatives that would hear people bring their cases to them saying that they would want so much compensation for the trauma that they've survived, and hopefully approving that and making that a simple process for them. So there would be a budget that would be written by the workers saying that this is what they're negotiating to do, and we would pay them based on that figure in the currency. And that currency is just generated. It's based on what is a fair trade. It's not backed by any finite resource. It's just a contract.
Okay.
We could. I mean, I think we can do anything. So even though there is legislation that forbids municipalities from generating their own commerce right now, we just need to challenge that. And if it's within a public favor to transfer somehow US dollars into currency, we could, but I don't see the necessity of that.
Because you don't see Washington giving money for anything?
Well, that's what we've been doing as a country for over 200 years, but we can't start divesting from that because of how unethically they contract of how they give money. You know, they're not giving us money in a livable wage. The federal government is not giving us money in an egalitarian way. It's an extremely racist and violent system of how they dispense money, and so we need to redistribute it in an ethical way.
Thank you.
So details about this are available at medium.com if you search Public Liberation Unions. And feel free to email me at Risatti@protonmail.com. Thank you.